Well, it's usually the eldest sibling that usually gets jealous of the younger sibling getting more attention. Hello everybody, Akip here, and I got a video today about a character from My Hero Academia named Dabi, aka Touya Todoroki. Specifically, I'm going to talk about his past, so I decided to make a video on Dabi's past based on chapters 301 and 302. Also, consider this as my manga review on these chapters, so with that out of the way, let's talk about Dabi's childhood experience. From chapter 301, we see that Touya is a kid whose goal is to one day surpass All Might as #1 hero. As we all know, Dabi's quirk is fire-based like his father. However, unlike his father who can tolerate fire, Dabi's body is dominated by his mother's genes that can handle the cold, but no tolerance to fire. Despite this, Dabi, or actually Touya, always goes off to train and uses fire quirk excessively, and always comes back with burns all over his body since his body can't tolerate the heat. His sister Fuyumi, a child back then, doesn't like seeing his big brother getting hurt from using his quirk. However, Toya's burning passion to surpass All Might was the only thing on his mind as a kid, and shoves his sister's concerns away. Then Toya's parents are both worried about him, and Endeavor himself has said with his own words that his son Touya can't surpass All Might. Not long after, the Todoroki family introduces another member to the family whose name that we're all familiar with. It's Natsu Todoroki. And then, a few years later, the long-awaited prodigy child, Shoto Todoroki, was born, who inherited both his mother and father's quirk, ice and fire. And from their faces, the family were happy to see them both born, except for Touya. After the birth of Shoto, Touya went to the forest using his quirk with tears forming in his eyes with a psychotic smile, saying, "Dad, I can surpass him too," referring to All Might. When Touya came back home, Endeavor pleads with him to stop using his quirk because it keeps burning his skin. As Endeavor follows up to get Touya to his senses that the world is big and there's many things outside to be other than being a hero. However, Endeavor's words aren't going through Toya's head as he says that kids in the school all want to be heroes and there's no way you'll understand because I'm your son. As the panel displays Toya's face with a sociopathic smile and tears dripping. Hearing his own dad telling him the tough reality that he can't be a hero, Touya unleashes his fire quirk and charges straight at baby Shoto, who's wrapped around his mother's arms. After that, it didn't show much on what happened, but pretty much after that incident, from chapter 301 to now chapter 302, Toya's siblings were banned from interacting with Touya. And then we have a time skip of 5 years later, where we see Toya's siblings invite him to play with them in the family's yard. As they're playing juggling the ball with their feet, Shoto, who's 5 years old at that time, watches them from a distance. And then Endeavor forcefully takes Todoroki away from their view for some endurance training. Later that night, Touya talked about his past judgment on Shoto and how his father treats his other kids as failures to his brother Natsu. Touya goes on a rant on how the modern day hero Endeavor decides to abandon his kids, who he believes that they're useless to Endeavor. And Natsu tells Touya to go talk his frustration to their sister Fuyumi, and we see in Toya's eyes that his world was shattered by his father, who ignores him, and he thought that his brother might do the same, as Touya tells him that no girl in their household will understand him. The next day, Touya decides to go to the hills and his mother tries to convince him not to go there. Touya wants to leave, as he said both of them live in different worlds, and his mother Rei asks him if he really wants to become a hero that badly. As she explains, it pains her to see her son getting hurt using his quirk, as she tells him that the world is a large place, and Touya could look around everything else that's not only his father in order to find a person he wants to be. After hearing that same conversation over and over again, Touya tells his mom in an aggressive tone with anger in his eyes, saying, "What do you know? You think only dad got me going? Falling in love with your own family sold you because you're poor and you didn't have a say in that matter when it happened." As he opens the door and about to step outside, Touya says to his mom, "Isn't that why I was born? You have a part in this too, Mom." Soon after, Touya goes to the forest and unleashes his quirk. In his own words, Touya realizes that his body is directly connected to intense emotions. Then he believes if he could pull that off, his dad would be surprised by it. As he burns up, he gets all excited as all of a sudden he begins to cry. As of that moment, of that day forward, Toya's flame turns from a red to blue flames that we all are familiar with. Later on, Toya's back and asks his dad to come to the hill where he's going to show him something. Hearing that, Endeavor realizes something fishy and pulls Toya's shirt up, revealing burns on his chest, and Endeavor gets mad while Touya keeps telling him you have to come to the hill in the afternoon so he could show his dad something. As he keeps running his mouth, saying that Shota wouldn't have some competition, while stating it might not be enough to surpass All Might, but it's something that his dad should see. As he's saying all of that, Touya is scratching himself from temptation, with tears forming, following up saying this out loud that his dad would realize that he wasn't a mistake after all. So because of what Touya has said to Endeavor, he gets mad at Ray and shouts at her for not taking good care of Touya. Right after that family conflict, we see Touya sitting on a log waiting for his dad to come. Realizing that his dad would not show up, he wipes his face from his tears. Then with Touya being all pent up with frustration, he unleashes his quirk to full gear. As we see Toya's body is literally burning up like the 4th of July. We then see President Dabi looking back at that moment as he remembers the only thing his dad ever taught him was to turn up the heat. As we see the image of Toya's blue flames consuming the forest along with himself in the center of it. The flames were so intense that the whole forest was covered in flames, where the neighboring city residents were shocked to see the view of blue flames scorching so up close. Without doubt, that's how the incident of Toya's death occurred, and as manga readers know, after that devastation, the only thing that was left of Touya was his jawbone, which was later found after the forest fire. With that being said, seeing a bone being the only thing remaining of Touya, any person would know that this kid is dead and gone, burnt to ashes from the tense high temperatures. However, that didn't turn out to be the case, as Touya managed to somehow survive the forest fire and kept below for a couple of years, as he obtained a new name in order to keep his true identity a secret. And of course, we all know what became of Touya Todoroki, as he's now known with his new alias, Blue Flame Dabi. So from everything that I mentioned, this was my take on the explanation of Dabi's/Touya's past from the manga in chapters 301 and 302 of My Hero Academia. I hope to one day see this animated in an anime, and hope the anime gives it a big impact to Touya's story just as it did in the manga, as well as I hope to see the scene of Touya's flames burning the forest done in the anime, as I believe that would be an infamous moment in My Hero Academia history. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed my video on this topic, and if you do, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more manga content such as this, and see y'all next time in the next video. Peace.